Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Polyhedron Cloudcast episode 44, which, according to my notes, is somehow called Back to Reality.
It is! Well, we've had Expo now, so, we've got
I see, back to normality then.
Kind of... No, reality. We've actually got to do our, I'd say, day job, but...
But that's much more interesting than this bullshit.
You speak for yourself, mate. I'm in customer service.
We now return to our regular broadcasting schedule.
Do not adjust your sets.
I'm Steve Tudor.
No, who's that? All I heard was I'm Steve Sample, which sounds like some kind of shit 90s DJ. The sort of person that would introduce Soul to Soul back to reality. Actually, back to life, to give it its proper title.
You finished?
No! Well, yes, go on.
I'm Steve Tudor.
I'm John Cage.
And I'm Andy.
Let's get the order right.
We did! It just took us a while.
I gotta admit, a little peek behind the curtain. We've had to write down the order in which we introduce ourselves because we keep interrupting each other.
What, like just then?
Yeah, but you still interrupted us.
Well, of course. I was still talking and you tried to do something dumb.
But you were talking nonsense.
We're trying to save our listeners.
One man's nonsense is another man's, hook for all of the people who don't like the board game chat and just come here for the shite.
True.
There you go,
Apparently there are some people that do that. Anyway, if you are just listening for this for the first time, we are supposed to be a podcast about board games and all kinds of tabletop games. But no doubt we will diverge into 80s pop music and other such nonsense.
It's likely, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Certain. Especially 80s pop music. That was the best pop music. Let's be honest, the 90s pop music was bollocks.
It's all pretty bad, let's be honest.
It's all relative.
80s rock music, on the other hand, was awesome.
True. Very true.
Steve looks sceptical. With such amazing acts like Bon Jovi, Reel to Reel, the Pet Shop Boys, although they were less rocky.
They weren't rock, they were pop.
That's what I said, they were less rocky.
Less rocky? Like they're complete opposite ends of the spectrum. Yes.
Good grief. We need to crack on with this because it is about 50 degrees in this room. I've had to shut all the windows and the doors, and the sun is still beating on the back of the curtains, and it's basically ball soup.
You look quite moist, Mr. Cage.
I am quite moist.
I'm quite cool in this flat. It's brilliant.
That's because you live in a cave, Andy.
Isn't it wonderful? It's great. I don't see anybody. There's no interaction with other human beings to ruin my day, and it is temperate. I don't have to sit around in my... Well, I do choose to sit around in my pants, but I don't have to.
I must admit, this time of year, I am quite jealous.
Yes. See, in winter, it's not so nice because it's single glazed, and it's not particularly good single glazing. So the average temperature in here is about -4. So I have to put on a t-shirt then, as well as my pants.
Right, let's get away from that mental image. Let's talk about some board games.
Oh, all right then.
Oh, so Andy, what have you been playing then?
I've been playing Echidna Shuffle, which sounds...
A Kid and the Shuffle?
That's very rude. That's the sort of thing Rolf Harris would do, apparently. But no, Echidna Shuffle. Echidnas being the monotreme.
Hedgehogs.
Not hedgehogs, god damn it.
They look like hedgehogs?
They look like hedgehogs.
They do look like hedgehogs, but they're not hedgehogs. They are echidnas. And as I educated Steve's wife, and indeed Steve, at Games Expo, so this is one game I forgot to mention at Expo, they are echidnas, one of two monotremes on the planet, the other being the platypus. Monotremes they have a single hole for poo and pee. There's a bit of biology for you.
You're echidning.
Ah! Oh, my God.
I've been working on that all week.
It shows. But echidnas are, for anyone who's familiar with Sonic the Hedgehog, Knuckles, his little friend, is an echidna. Not a hedgehog.
I just always assumed he was another hedgehog.
No, echidna. Knuckles was an echidna, which is why he's called Knuckles the Echidna.
I thought it was just called Knuckles, to be honest.
Well, Sonic the Hedgehog, Knuckles the Echidna. It kind of follows. You two
It wasn't Tails the Fox, was it?
It was just Tails, though, wasn't it?
Well, yes. 2 tails, actually. Miles Tails Prower, actually. But
Well, there you
Look it
go
up.
then.
we dive further deeper into computer game lore.
So, Echidna Shuffle, the board game, what's that about?
It's about shuffling echidnas, which is not a euphemism.
Not shuffling your kidneys, that's something else.
It's a very, very light... It's actually a family game, bizarrely. So it's somewhat weirdly ironic that I really, really like this. There's the cat
Hang
out
on,
the back.
whoa. You like a family game?
I know. I'm as shocked as you are. But I saw this actually at Expo, and I sort of wandered past the little stand at the preview on the Thursday night. And it looks fabulous. It's little 12 physical sort of, I'd say miniatures, but echidnas on this big board. And the idea of the game is literally to collect 3 bugs from a little pad and move your little bugs to tree stumps. And the first person to get rid of all of their 3 bugs is the winner. It's really that simple. On the board, there's a bunch of spaces, and between each space is an arrow which directs essentially the direction of flow. On your turn, you roll the die, which has spots between 2 and 7 rather than 1 and 6. You move that number of echidnas.
Okay.
Or rather, you have that many moves with which to move echidnas. Let's put it that way. Nobody owns the echidnas. And the idea is that literally you just move them around. So...
Right, I see.
Hence the shuffle.
Hence the shuffle, exactly. Yes, you shuffle your echidnas. And that's basically it. So there's a pad for every player, so of their colour. There are 3 tree stumps of each player colour. You can play up to 6 players. You move each of these echidnas around. You automatically pick up a bug on an empty echidna. The bug sits on the back of the echidna until it goes past the tree stump of the matching colour. Bug hops off. You take the stump off, and away you go. Because nobody owns a particular echidna, you can basically move whichever echidnas you want and screw over all of the other players. And that's what makes it awesome.
And that's why Andy likes it.
Yes, and I'm convinced John will love it as well.
It sounds like there's a chance of it.
I think you will. But it does something else as well. Because there's a die in it, it's not the sort of thing I'd usually do, because it is almost roll and move. But what happens is, when you roll your die, you put a little token down on a little board. If you say roll a 7, on your next turn you are designated a 2. So over 2 turns, everyone gets 9 spots worth of movement. It just happens to be broken up over the 2 turns.
That's quite clever.
Exactly. So everyone gets the same number of goes. So it all comes
okay.
down to how much of a bell end you are.
Yeah.
Do you know what?
My.
That concept would actually improve Talisman no end.
There you go, see? There's a lot of things that would improve Talisman no end, Steve, like not playing it in the first place.
Well, yeah, lighter fluid in a match as well
Yes.
might improve it as well.
Can't believe
Some
it. You
kind of
guys are
large
mentioning
bonfire.
it. I didn't even bring it up this time.
That's true, actually. Oh no, we've fallen into his trap, Steve.
But I was about to say, first of all, Itchy Monkeys, then Echidna Shuffle. Your taste is getting lighter, Andy. I think you could well be ripe for a lovely game of Talisman soon.
No.
He's burnt out on all these heavy euros. His brain's melted into mush, and now he just wants something light and relaxing.
I'm not burned out at all. I played Hannibal last night. It took us 3.5 hours to get through 4 out of 9 turns. And we loved it. So no, I am not. But it's really good. The beautiful thing about Echidna Shuffle, because it's a family game, kids are going to love just basically, younger kids are going to moving the echidnas around, because it is really pretty. The echidnas look fabulous. But adults are going to get a lot of joy out of screwing their friends over. The board's also double-sided, so there's a much more complicated pattern on the back, so you can sort of up your game, as it were. And I say it can sort of suit up to 6 players at once, which I imagine will be chaos. I've played it with 2 and 4, and it works really, really well. But I imagine with 6, it would be mental. I think its RRP is $34, which is about 25 quid, but we picked it up for £17 because we got the X-Demo copy at Expo, which is an absolute goddamn bargain.
Fair enough.
So, yeah, it's brilliant, and... okay, it's got miniatures, and yes, I'll say miniatures, sort of moulds.
They're more like little plastic toys, really, aren't they?
Yes, they are, yeah. But they look fabulous. So, I mean, I could level the argument at it that I levelled at Grim Forest and say, well, it's overproduced, they don't need to be this big, blah, 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 blah. But for 20 quid, I can't throw that, because it's 20 quid, not 60 quid. And it does everything it needs to do and not a thing more. It's brill. I really love it. So I advise everybody to go out and get a copy, because it's wonderful.
You have to try this now.
You are. Although Elora is guardian of it. She won't let me have it.
I did kind of turn my nose up at it when I saw it at the expo because it just looked like a really simple kids game. I just kind of walked past it and went, it's not going to be for me. But it sounds like I've missed out here.
You have missed out, as have many other people turning their nose up at such things.
You're getting far too picky these days.
Well, it's more than mental sorting when you go around the expo. It's kind of like, right, I want to see this, ignore that, ignore that, ignore this, ignore that. Right, concentrate on this.
Whereas I just went, ooh, shinies, hello.
Yeah.
And gave it a chance.
Which is why you need to follow various people who went to the expo to find out what they saw and you completely missed.
Yes, that's true. But I loved it. And I think it's brilliant. So I played it a few times now. Really, really enjoy it. And you can get through it in about 15 minutes. It's a really quick game.
That's pretty cool.
Cool.
So very, very good. Very, very worth the money. Looks lovely. And it's also a contender now for Andy's Insert of Choice Award for 2018.
It still sounds wrong.
Well, to be fair, the only other contender at the moment is Grim Forest, ironically enough.
Not the glittery butt pugs.
Now, they won it in 2017.
They're still there.
Yep. Still inserted. I see. It's one of those podcasts, is it, tonight?
It's
right.
one of those podcasts which is quite ironic based about the games we're talking about, because I also am going to be talking about a family game which involves bright...
Please don't say it's going to involve butt plugs, because that's not a family game.
It involves bright, colourful plastic animals.
Again, not entirely.
This is Beasts of Balance, which is, again, much like Andy, this is a game I saw at the expo. In fact, on the press preview, I had a demo of this with Mr. Luke Hector from Broken Meeple. And then on Saturday, Amanda saw this. Mainly, I showed Amanda it because there was a little dragon in it called Hot Belly the Hangry Dragon, which I thought was quite cool.
What?
The Hot Belly the Hangry Dragon.
Hangry dragon, okay.
Yeah.
Like when you get angry because you're hungry.
Yes, no, I know what hangry means. It's just it's an interesting concept, because I thought most dragons are generally just angry things anyway.
Anyway, this game is... Amanda saw this at Saturday at the expo and fell in love with it straight away, so we ended up bringing a copy home. What it is, it's like Pokemon and Jenga combined, would be the best way to put it.
Jokemon.
Yeah. Jokemon. Jengamon. What you're trying to do is you're trying to balance... It's called Beasts of Balance because you're trying to balance the creatures on a platform. So what you've got is this little Bluetooth-enabled platform which syncs with your iPad or whatever, or tablet or whatever. And you're going to put creatures on top. But as you put a creature on top of the platform, it activates. And on the screen of the app, you see this creature inside its environment. So you put the little shark on, the shark appears in the water. Put the eagle on, eagle appears in the sky, that kind of thing. What you're trying to do is balance everything on top of each other, like Jenga. So you're trying to get as much onto the platform as possible. But there's actually like this more complicated game of feeding your animals. So, for instance, you get extra blocks, which are types of food. And food is just basically earth food, water food, and air food. And then certain blocks are different types. So what you're trying to do is feed those animals. And then you've got extra like power-ups, which can either cross animals and make new breeds of them, or migrate them. So if you migrate a shark, it'll mutate and turn into a land animal or a flying animal or something like that. Hence why the kind of Pokemon aspect. And it's like Pokemon in that there's loads of creatures hidden in this. So you can migrate and cross different creatures and get a different result every time. And then you can evolve creatures and get different types of evolved creatures as well. Now, the game itself is quite simple.
Yeah.
Because really it's a score attack. Now, the game as it currently stands is a cooperative game or a solo game, and you're just trying to score the best score you can.
Like a pinball machine. Everyone's trying to get the top score.
Well, yeah, a little bit like that, yeah.
Yeah.
But what you're trying to do is learn some of the combos that will give you the best points and then working out, trying to keep everything alive. And I must admit, I've been because I keep tabs of everything on my phone, I've played this game 8 times in the last 2 weeks.
Good Lord.
That's pretty unusual for you, isn't it, Steve? Let's be honest.
Yeah. So it's kind of addictive, to be fair, because it's so simple. Again, like Echidna Shuffle, it takes about 15 minutes. And what happens is, if a part falls off, because the app knows whether a piece is on there, a volcano starts to erupt. And you've got until the lava hits the top of the volcano to get everything back on the platform as quickly as you can.
Presumably in the app, not in real life. You don't have an
in
active
real
volcano
life.
sat on your desk. That would be quite cool.
In real
if you
life,
did.
yeah.
Excellent. Good. Just clearing that up.
Steve, I have to ask, have you ever managed to get everything back onto the platform, having knocked it all off? Because when we played, it was just no chance.
No, once you get like about 5 or 6 things on, you're stuffed. If you knock like 1 or 2 things off, you can usually get them back on. But if the entire lot collapses, yeah, no chance.
Yeah, I quite enjoyed it. Although the app did crash twice, was it?
Yeah, no, there was a couple of creatures the Bluetooth doesn't... Because what you do is you take the creature and you have to register it on the front of the little plinth first. And then when you put it on, it's supposed to register that it's there. And there's a couple of the creatures, especially the bigger ones, have to be within the area of the plinth, I think what it is.
Okay.
So if you can't overhang them too much, and the problem is the tendency is, from an engineering point of view, you tend to do overhanging because you kind of want the biggest stable area. And I think you want to try and keep it in that kind of cylinder of what the plinth area is.
Build a cantilever, much more stable structure.
Yeah, exactly.
You can clearly tell games designers are not generally mechanical engineers.
Or that they don't want the game to be too easy.
Well, yes. They're clearly not familiar with the cantilever or whatever type of cog Steve identified in Solkin.
Involute gearform.
That's it,
Game
yes.
started again.
This is 15 minutes of value out of Steve now, isn't it? Well, actually, we've got this type of cog in a board game.
It's not just any old cog, it's a really sexy one. Whoa.
One thing that the game doesn't have at the moment, because it's only cooperative, but one thing we saw at the expo was they're releasing a competitive version of the game.
Excellent.
So what you're going to have is you're going to have a series of cards with 2 special abilities, and you're going to take it in turns. So your creature that you put on there remains your creature, and you score points for the creatures you have, which will eat the creatures that other people have put on.
That sounds fun.
Although I've only played that part of it at the expo, that's the bit I played at the press preview. It's really, really good, that is, and I'm waiting for that to come out now. We can extend this game even further.
I must admit, I was disappointed when we played it because I thought that's what we were going to do. And then you're just like, right, co-op game.
So how much is this overpriced tat?
Well, that's kind of the problem. It's about £60 at the moment.
Bloody, is that for everything, or does it have, like, do you buy little animals separately, or what?
Well, that's everything you can get at the moment, bare a couple of extras.
Okay.
So that's the base set, but what they've done is they've released extra animals to add more variety to it, and then these cards that turn it into a multiplayer game are going to be an extra later on as well.
Okay.
Now, I don't know how much they're going to be, because at the moment you can only get them as a late pledge on Kickstarter. And they're all about $20 each, so I don't know what they're going to be once they hit retail.
Okay.
So it's not cheap, but at the same time, compared to most other board games at the moment, it's probably about the same kind of price. And it feels like a lot of... You've got a piece of electronics in this, remember. It's not just a bunch of components. It's not even like Mansions of Madness, where you've just got the app development and components. This has got an electronic plinth with sensors in and such like, and a Bluetooth transmitter, so...
Bluetooth's not cheap.
How much do you get in the box, then? How many animals and things?
I think it's 4 big animals and 4 small animals and a load of extra bits and pieces.
Okay, that doesn't sound like much to balance.
Doesn't sound like much, but you cannot... If you can get everything on top of there, you are really doing well.
It's a bit
Challenge
like number
accepted.
9. So
Okay,
all the pieces are just slightly awkwardly shaped. Like they should all stack together until you actually try. Like, I could definitely get it on. Oh, no, that's not going to work. Right, fine, I'll just put it straight on the top. Over to you, Steve. Good luck. You say it's not competitive, but...
It has got this thing where everything is like a slightly different height. So you think, I'll put those 2 creatures next to each other, they're the same height, so I'll be able to balance something else on top. And you go, oh, no, that puts that at an angle.
I see. So it's almost like they thought about it.
Yes.
Yeah. It was fun. I enjoyed it.
Okay, yeah, Elora said she quite liked the look of it, and had a quick go at Expo as well. But I must admit, it's not the sort of thing that appeals to me. But it seems to, from you two and her, everyone seems to have liked it.
I enjoyed it. I'm not sure I personally would pay 60 quid for it, though.
Until the multiplayer comes out, I am concerned a little bit with the longevity of it.
I was going to say that. It doesn't sound like it's got much lasting ability. The
lasting power is basically in trying to unlock the features. It now becomes like a video game, as I said, like Pokemon now.
Yeah.
It's all about like seeing what's the best score we can get, and can we unlock all the creatures that are in the the bestiary.
You got to balance them all.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So as I said, it is a combination of like Jenga and a video game. So it's got that kind of score attack, collectibles kind of aspect to it.
Ugh. Yes.
As I said, I'm really enjoying it. More importantly, my wife is really enjoying it. So a happy wife means a happy Steve.
Excellent. It doesn't sound like it doesn't sound like something I give a flying shit about, to be brutally honest with you. But never mind.
It's worth a go because, as I said, it's 15 minutes.
Okay.
I think for 15 minutes, half an hour, I think it's a nice little diversion if you're not into that kind of game.
Okay.
But as I said, I've played it a lot more because what I've done is I've played it, it's fallen apart, and rather than go, oh, that was nice, put it back in the box, I've gone, no, I'm going to beat that score. I almost got 100 then. Damn it, I'm going to get 120 kind of thing.
God damn it, 4 hours have passed. Shouldn't I have gone to work by now? Yeah, it was fun.
So that was Beasts of Balance, which is available now, and some expansions are coming out for it soon.
Are they on Kickstarter as well, or are they going to be just off the shelf?
They will be off the shelf. They're on. It has already been on Kickstarter.
Yeah.
So it's coming to retail soon, but I don't know exactly when.
Okay. Right, Mr. Cage, we've covered 2 games in 20 minutes, which I think is some kind of record.
And you guys have described some nice light games, so it's time for me to describe a slightly more complicated game.
Hang on.
There is something very wrong going on this podcast.
John and I have got our scripts confused.
So at the weekend, Steve was round, and we played a game that he brought along called Pikoko, which isn't as rude as it sounds. It's a game of trick-taking, semi-blind trick-taking, where you've each got a little peacock. Steady. Stop sniggering. I can hear it.
Is this the peacock game that you saw at Expo, Steve?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
So basically, each round, players receive a hand of 8 cards, but you don't get to see your own cards. So all you can see is the back and the back of your peacock. Everyone else knows what you've got. So you can see the other people in the game's cards, and you can work out how good their hands are. So then, based on that, you take it in turns to vote how strongly, like how many tricks you think that player's going to take. So you each hold out your hand with a certain number of tokens in it, and that's your vote for that player. So as it goes round, you don't vote for yourself, but as it goes round, you see how strong everyone thinks they are. So when it comes to your turn, you'll get some idea about how good your hand is based on how many tokens everyone else has voted for you. Which is fun because the final bit is you get to vote on yourself, and then you get to vote with a confidence card that says which of the estimates of how many tricks you're going to take are going to be right. So if you're really confident that one of them is you're definitely only going to get 2 tricks for that person, then you go with them and you say, right, I want +3 points if I get that right and -1 point if I've got it wrong. Or if you want to hedge your bets, you can just have a +1 and it doesn't matter whether or not any of your bets are right. Simple enough?
About.
So it's a bit of a mind bender, like when you first get going. So what do I actually, how do I judge whether or not to go for something or not? So the final twist is that every player picks cards from their left. So if I was starting, I'd pick cards from the person on my left to say, right, this person's playing a blue 8, maximum's 9, so I can be reasonably sure, unless I can see on the other people's cards, that should win. Of course, if someone hasn't got a blue card, they can play one of the trumps, whatever the trumps are. They're randomly selected. What you don't know is what your cards are. So you're kind of hedging your bets a little bit, as not only whether or not you think you're going to win, but also whether or not other people want you to win. So you have to bear in mind what their bets were on the peacock that you're picking from, because whichever one you're picking from, that's the one that would actually win the trick if it had the highest number. I really like this game.
It's a really difficult game to explain. I mean, I learnt the rules on Saturday morning, got to John's and we played it on Sunday morning. I was like, how the hell am I going to describe how to play this? Because it doesn't make any sense when you describe it.
Well, I don't know. It sounds pretty straightforward to me. Everyone has a hand of cards. You can't see your own cards, but you can see everybody else's cards. It's kind of the opposite of poker.
Yeah, sort of.
Sort of, yeah. But it's one of those games that at first it doesn't really click on the first round, and all of a sudden it clicks, and you're like, "Ooh, hello."
Ooh.
There's There's a lot of options here. And the interesting one is when you realise, like, you've already got someone to get the right amount of tricks to meet your bet. So you're then trying to throw the game.
Yeah.
So putting in shit cards in your favour. Because you can put reasonably whatever card you want. I mean, I think you've got to follow suit if you can. There's a careful balancing act. And there's nothing worse than thinking, right, okay, I'm going to get all my bets right. And then somebody pulls a card from your deck and goes, boom. It's like, oh, well, that's not right. That's messed up on my betting.
That's hardly cricket now. I say.
You've also got to balance everything because it's not just whether or not you think it should win. You've also got to look at what other people's bets are. So like you end up forming like lots of small alliances. Like if 3 of you have voted that person over there is going to definitely get 3 tricks taken, then 3 of you are gunning for that particular result. So you've also got to, but everyone did it blindly. So you don't know up front, like you can't think, oh, okay, if 2 people have put 2 tokens down for that one, I'll go for 2 as well because it'll be easy. You suddenly find out secretively that you've got all these little alliances that you're then working together, and that helps balance as well between all the different people. Like how many tricks end up getting taken by different people.
That sounds devious. I like the sound of it.
It is.
I like the sound of devious.
What was quite interesting was when all the votes got put in, we all found that we were voting roughly similar. So, within 1 or 2 of each, 2 at the very most. Because you basically can vote 1 to 10 is what you could vote and how many tricks this person's going to take. Was it 1 to 9, but there's 8 cards.
Yeah.
So you've got an extra bet than there are cards, basically. So I was expecting the scores to be really close because, of course, if most people are betting for one person, for, say, John to get 3 tricks, you can expect most people will be doing their best to make sure John gets 3 tricks. But at the end of the game, even though all the bets were relatively similar, the scores were quite spread out.
Yeah, so one thing that definitely affects that is that if you guessed exactly right how many tricks one person was going to take, you got 2 points for that. If you were close, was it within 1?
Within 1, yeah.
Yeah, then you got 1 point, and otherwise you got 0. So for each person, you're going to get 2, 1, or 0 points. Then on top of that, you're either going to get +3, if whichever one you said was certain was good, or -1, and that makes a huge difference. Because that could really swing things a bit.
Yeah, totally. Ah, interesting. Question.
Go on.
Do you get the peacocks as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, because...
sat in front of you, there's a 3D peacock, and you tuck your cards into it.
Just to be, I'm going to throw the overproduced card down again, because it seems to be the flavour of the month.
But you'd need something to hold the cards out in front of you if you did that.
Nature invented 2 things on the end of our arms.
But you've got to hold it up all the time for everyone else to see at all times.
There's other games like that. Or you could put it in your glasses.
You've got to remember, you've also got to bid on different things. And it's a closed-hand bid. So the advantage of the peacock is it's there and it does look really pretty. And you say overproduced, this game's not expensive.
How much is it, then? Because if it's less than £30, then that's okay. It's exempt.
I can see it for 23 quid on Amazon.
Oh, that'll do. Yeah. So its RRP is probably somewhere between 25 and 30 then.
1 left, you say. Click.
It's not live shopping with Andy, it's live shopping with John. See, I'm rubbing off on you, as it were. £26, so yeah, RRP is probably 30 quid then, give or take.
Yeah, you're looking at 25 to 30 quid, yeah.
That's all right. And does it do 4, 6, 8?
3 to 5.
Okay, that's all right. So £6 a head. That's not bad, I suppose, is it, really?
That's not bad.
Yeah, I could live with that. Fair dues. I retract my statement.
It's by the same people as Ice Cool and Game of Trains.
Brain Games. Excellent. We are fans.
It gives you an idea of the kind of quality of the components you can expect if you
play high quality, addictive crack, basically.
Yeah, which looks at first like it should be a kid's game that you should be playing, and then before you know it, you're
swearing at people,
flicking penguins into everyone's whiskey.
Yeah, basically, yeah. We are, if nothing else, late 30s adult, late 30s children, or children, boys in our late 30s.
Definitely.
So, yes.
So yeah, I would highly recommend that game. I really enjoyed it, and I am definitely going to play it again. In fact, it's in a basket right now.
Good man. Get it onto your desk and we can play it at work at lunchtime.
Yeah, if only I had enough time to do that sort of thing at work.
Yeah, I know the feeling, but, let's make time. We should make time, John.
Yeah, that is an excellent idea.
Why aren't you two working? We're playing Pikoko. It's far more important. Especially because I'm winning.
That's what he thinks.
Right, I will definitely have to have a play of this.
Yeah, it's good
I will
fun.
play with John's Pikoko.
Yeah, grab your cocks. It's a great game. Peacocks, I mean.
Wow, that's 25 minutes. 3 games.
Fastest podcast in the West.
Good Lord. Now for something definitely completely different. For the first time ever in Polyhedron Collider history, and Steve will now find a fanfare or some equivalent sound to make this suitably prestigious, we have a competition. Yes. And it isn't any old dross that we happen to be lying on our shelves that we don't want anymore, so we're giving that away. No.
That's the next competition.
Yeah, that's the next one, yeah. There's a big pile of shit in my spare room, of high-quality games that everyone should own that I just don't have space for. But this is legit stuff. So it is no secret that, I would say we, but I am a big fan of Knightmare Live, because you two slackers haven't been to see it yet.
Not because I didn't want to.
Oh, I know that, but, you should make more effort. Otherwise, Lord Fear will have a word with you. There you go. You see, goblins! See, he gets it. And it would seem that my fanboy nature has not gone unnoticed. So we were contacted by the promoters of said show, and we have 3 pairs of tickets to give away to you lucky listeners, because we can't have it, because apparently that would be considered a fix.
Damn it. I was just about to...
So, as John writes to me, John
3
Smith,
pairs.
John Cage Smith, for the show on the 8th of July at the Underbelly Festival in London, at the South Bank Centre, Belvedere Road, London SE18XX. I'm assuming that's legit 8XX, not 2 figures that we've just forgotten and put 2 X's there because we have to remember it, because it just looks weird on paper. But the Underbelly Festival in London at the South Bank Centre on the 8th of July. And all you need to do is email me, Andy, at polyhedroncollider.com with your name, and I will make a draw, so it's a bit of a lottery, at about 5 o'clock on Tuesday the 3rd of July. So hopefully that'll be the Tuesday 2 to 3 days after you hear this podcast, assuming Steve manages to get it out on the Saturday as planned.
We have every faith in you, Steve.
But to be fair, it doesn't take long to send an email. So Tuesday the 3rd gives you 5 days to prepare, book a hotel or even a train and get yourselves to London. So email me, Andy at polyhedroncollider.com with your name. And if you are lucky or unlucky, I will email you with the details to tell you you've won, and I'll give you the details of what you need to do to get your tickets. So good luck.
Indeed. Good luck, fellas and ladies.
Good luck.
If we see entries from Mandy Newis, we're going to be suspicious.
To be fair, Knightmare Live isn't that expensive. The tickets are usually somewhere between £10 and £15 each, so they're not. It's not a bank-breaking expedition. So even if you don't win, I do strongly recommend. God, I can't speak tonight. Recommend.
It's the heat.
Put the tea.
That's because you've necked about 3 cans of beer while we've been on the show.
That is not true.
They just keep evaporating.
You exaggerate, sir. But it is Tasty Elvis Juice by the lovely Brewdog Company.
Yeah, to be fair, I'm on the same.
See?
I've got a can of that in the fridge. I'm just wondering when we take a break.
It's
now.
a Polyhedron Collider 3 for 3. We should write to Brewdog and tell them that they've won this prestigious award.
And that smoothly swifts us into question time with a question from Mark Cook, which is, what would you say are the best beers to pair with your favourite games, or indeed podcasts?
Well, obviously, Elvis Juice by Brewdog.
Indeed. On a day like today, certainly.
Definitely. Or as I answered him to his original question, strong ones.
Yeah. I like to get topical. There's an actual beer called Talisman.
What?
Yep. There is
Does
a
it leave a
Talisman
horrible
beer.
taste in your mouth as it's a poor experience?
Yeah, but it's so easy to drink.
Oh, no. I was
Oh,
about to
dear.
suggest, does it take you 4 hours to drink and just, you never really want to have another one?
It's not about what it does to you. It's about what it's doing to you while you're drinking it. Aha.
Is it caustic soda? It basically eats you from the inside and leaves you a little hollow.
Right, that's enough crap analogies about an excellent game.
Indeed.
What's the beer like? Have you had it?
It's all right.
Just that might be a talisman then.
All right. Oh, wow. Talisman's taking some pelters tonight. Excellent. It's been a long time since we gave the knife to Talisman.
It's because I haven't mentioned it for ages.
That's true, you haven't.
Poor game.
And whilst on the subject of serious questions, Geekinson instantly responded to my plea for questions. I specifically asked them not to ask, well, not them specifically, I specifically asked anybody not to ask where babies come from. So obviously they got straight on the tweet and went, where do babies come from?
That's a family growth action, obviously.
See? Steve, ever serious, focused on the task at hand, straight in there like the quiz team. Bang, family action.
Simples.
Yes.
Oh, what's the one in Stonehenge? That's one in the curriculum. What's one in Stonehenge? It's the hut.
What?
If you place the work, if you place your workers in the hut, I think it is in Stonehenge, you get another worker.
You're not talking about Pizza Hut, are you? Because nobody works at Pizza Hut. They just kind of stand around.
Well, you said that's where babies come from, Pizza Hut.
Maybe. Have you seen the state of the toilets in that place?
No.
I don't know where your brain's going with this, and I'm putting the brakes on it. There's a big red emergency stop button. I'm hitting
Run
it
away.
right now.
I am, of
Phil
course,
Harker
being facetious.
asks,
The toilets in Pizza Hut were delightful.
how much time have you spent in the toilets at Pizza Hut, Andy?
Again, I'm tired
No,
of
you're right,
slapping
yeah.
this emergency stop button.
Eject.
We need like the big red klaxon button sound for this, don't we?
The Andy's going to the bad place. Let's stop this conversation right now, klaxon.
Going? And he started there. It can only go up from here.
No, don't.
Hey, you went there, not me.
Phil James Harker asks, thoughts on the upcoming Simon Cthulhu game, which is Cthulhu Death May Die.
Interesting. Simon haven't really released much about the gameplay yet. Being Cool Mini or not, they've released lots of pictures of the minis, and I must admit, I thought Andy would like one of the miniatures is smoking a pipe.
Yes, I saw it. See, I didn't know anything about this until you asked about it, Philip. And then Steve posted the link, and I quote that one of the minis is smoking a pipe. King sold. So yes, Steve's absolutely right. It'll go with my pipe, and of course, Steve has now dragged me into the madness that is Cthulhu and Lovecraft. You bastard! You have 2 years of Mansions of Madness, etc., etc. So yes, now I'm keeping a beady eye on this. So yes, our thoughts are positive, if somewhat lacking, because we don't really think about many things.
Yeah, we don't really know much about it at the moment. It looks, from the description, like it's similar to Arkham Horror and Eldritch Horror. So there's miniatures for the investigators. There's something about you're going to be facing different great old ones, so each game you're playing a different great old one. It suggests it's going to be closer to Arkham Horror than Eldritch Horror, but other than that, I mean, it's very
Loose,
hypey at the moment with the way we're doing. You know, like when a film trailer comes out and it doesn't tell you much about the film at all. It's just like, ooh, this looks exciting kind of thing.
Like most Star Wars trailers. Ooh, critic bomb.
So it's at the moment I'm interested in it and I want to know more. Now I do wonder. My hot tip for the year is I think Fantasy Flight Games are going to announce Arkham Horror version 3 at Gen Con.
Ooh.
You heard it here first, folks.
I don't know why. I've not got any real evidence to back this up. It's not like I've got some like inside information. It's just
A feeling in your waters.
Yeah, feeling in my water. The development cycle of Eldritch Horror seems to have come to an end. They've stopped.
Are you
expansions
like
for it.
basically right now? You're Harry Redknapp in the back of a Range Rover being interviewed by the press on Derby on the transfer deadline day. Given that you're
Who's
not
Harry
football.
Redknapp?
Okay, yes.
What's a transfer deadline?
For goodness sake.
What's a Range Rover?
Sports. You should know what a Range Rover is like. Amanda's got her eye on one.
No, it's standard answer to the question then.
You live in the bloody Cotswolds. There must be about 15 down your road as it is.
Both my next door neighbours have got one.
There you go. Good grief.
Yeah.
I've got my gut is that Fantasy Flight Games we're doing Arkham Horror 3. It's a long time since Arkham Horror 2 came out. I think it's getting on for 10 years. Yes.
I didn't realise it was a second edition. Jesus.
Yes, the original edition was 1984.
Wow.
Cracky.
So it's actually quite a few years since Eldritch Horror came out.
And I've still not played that.
Have you not? Do you know what? We played that the other week, right? So the other weekend with a few people, we played Eldritch Horror. And I think it suffers from too many expansions, and it suffers from not telling you what the difficulty is.
Right.
Well, it's assumed it's batshit crazy hard.
Yeah, but there are different great old ones will give you different levels of difficulty, and you can stack the decks a little bit. We actually called it after 3 hours, even though we were less than a third of the way through the game, because something really bad happened to us, and we all went, we're not going to recover from that. It's just going to be a slow and painful death from this point onwards.
Surely that's what makes it enjoyable.
Whereas the first 3 hours were a delightful jaunt in the park. No doubt.
La 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 la.
Portal over here, monsters over there. Oh shit, I've broken my leg.
Oh dear.
Oh, I'm cursed. Oh, I'm going mad.
Oh dear.
Yeah, that's about it, yeah.
Oh, well, we'll keep an eye on Simon. The thing is, Simon do seem to be a bit of a hype-based company. So I take everything they produce these days with a big pinch of salt. Interested but sceptical, let's put it that way.
Yes, I'm kind of the same, and the fact that they've not really given much details about how the game actually plays at this point suggests that they're just building the hype ready for the inevitable Kickstarter, and we'll see how we go from there.
Well, Simon, consider us excited.
Mark Cook asks, would you rather be a board game designer, artist, or publisher?
Designer.
Seconded.
Well, I am one, kind of.
Seconded, actually.
Thirded.
There you go. Right, next.
Thirded, yeah.
Motion carried.
Based on our skill set, me and Andy were probably better as a publisher, because we've done a little deal with supply chain and things like that.
That is true, actually.
Day jobs.
Yeah.
We have a bit of a much more... And I can't draw for shit, so there's no way I'm going to be an artist.
Could design the mechanics, maybe not the art. I suffer from programmer's art.
Yes, I'm trying to put together a board game at the moment, although it seems to have stalled quicker than a larder on a hill. It is interesting to go through a design because you kind of go, yes, I've got some really great ideas, and you start to write them down and go, Jesus, this is complicated.
There's lots of ideas, but they don't really mesh together into a single game. They're just lots of mechanics.
Well, I haven't even got that far. It's kind of I've got a really good idea of what I want to do, and here's some really great ideas. Yeah, there's a really great theme. Here's some good ideas we want to put together, and it's not Cthulhu. No, Steve was not involved in the initial ideas. And we've sort of put together a bunch of ideas, but we kind of go, well, if we have that, and we have that, and we have that, that's going to be ridiculous. It's going to be a 4-hour game. Okay, let's get rid of these bits and have this bit. Now, we like that idea, but how the hell is that going to work? How are you going to win? I have no idea. How do we make the game not like this other game that's on the market and done really well and doesn't look like a blatant rip-off of it? That's quite hard. Shit. It's quite difficult.
It's like most reviews with you. About halfway through, you suddenly realise you haven't actually explained what you actually have to do in the game to win. So how do you win, Andy? That is a good question.
Well, the thing is, the reason I don't know the answer to that question, John, is because I don't win very often, so I don't know.
That's a good answer.
So I think all three of us would like to be designers, but, well, yes. That may or may not end in success.
Not.
Yes, probably, yeah. I love your optimism there, Steve. Nah, no shit. Let's move on. Right, then Mr. Hanneman must have been bored at work today. Oh, is that the one about where Germany just got stuffed 2-0 by South Korea in the recent World Cup game? He's asked, gaming entitlement. I see a lot recently in localish groups. If I can't play game X, I'm not coming. I get everyone has their favourite, but it feels like everyone has forced others to change their plan to suit their needs. Have you encountered this, and how would you react if it happens in your group? I don't see that in our group.
I have seen it. I have seen people who come along and they brought their game, and when you say, "Oh, we're all playing something else," they'll go, "Oh, all right, see you then."
Oh, that's a bit rubbish.
And you know what? I didn't care.
I think yes. If you know, people like that are no loss.
The problem is, it depends what game they're talking about. Like, some people want to play. The one individual who used to do this would only play a game he knew he was good at.
That kind of game.
That's enough about me.
This wasn't about a game that played a game he knew the rules to. He would only play a game he was good at.
Right.
And then when you said...
How does that work?
Well, some people are good at some games, Andy.
Yeah,
how do you get good at a game if you don't know the rules, is what I mean.
No.
I'm not saying he wouldn't play because he didn't know the rules.
Oh, I see. Right, got you. Just the way you phrased it, I was like, doesn't know the rules, but he's good at it. Surely that's cheating. That's probably why he's good at it.
Well, no, he was cheating because he would have gone home and he would have read all the strategy guides for this game and worked out all the optimum strategies.
Good at the game is a subset of knowing the rules.
It does help.
So I've seen this, and you know what? I didn't care because I'm relatively relaxed about what I play within certain parameters, and I'm, especially now, where I'm more happy to be playing an actual board game than I am, never mind to be playing something I wanted to play. So I don't say I'm not bothered, but for some people, you get enjoyment out of what you get enjoyment out of, really, isn't it? So
I tend to think
you shouldn't be a dick about it. I mean, the whole point of being part of this hobby is that there are lots of different tastes, and you should ideally expose yourself to those different things. Because, I mean, ordinarily I'd like to sit down and play a 4-hour Euro, but, having picked up Echidna Shuffle, for example, really liked it. Pleasantly surprised, anything you should give some things the chance to surprise you.
I approach game selection in those kind of groups like I approach walking to a bar with lots of beers I don't know, in the sense that I would always pick something I haven't tried before over something I know that I will love.
Yes, and whatever happens at the end of the night, you're always smashed.
Well, you've always found something out. Always found that either you love a new game,
yes,
or maybe that game wasn't quite so good, but at least you tried something different, something new.
Yeah,
it's pretty rare where I think there's a load of new games, but there's Talisman as an option, so I'm playing Talisman.
See, we have a slightly different perspective as well, because we know we're going to be sitting in front of a microphone every few weeks and talking about games. So there's sometimes when it's like, do I want to play this game I know and love, but we've already talked about a few times, or someone's got this brand new, shiny, hyped game with them. You
say that, Steve, but I'm not that dedicated.
And to be fair, we have talked about D&D at least 4 times. To excess.
Based on how much D&D we're playing at the moment, we could probably carry on doing that as well.
That's true.
It's so good.
And it does seem to have got at your tears, yeah. We're not going to go down that rabbit hole, though. I'm not going to let us. But what I was going to say is the closest we get to kind of I want to play my game in our group is some of us regularly bring in games. A lot of people don't. So essentially, it's like, what have you brought? What have you brought? What have you brought? And there's a fairly civilized discussion about what people want to play. It's patently obvious that one individual, who I will not name, but will be blatantly obvious to anyone listening to this podcast who is part of my gaming group, always brings massive games that contain huge miniatures and always ends up wanting to play them, turns up this massive bag of stuff, and then everyone decides, we want to play something else. And the look of disappointment is depressing and yet somewhat entertaining.
What we do with kind of me and Adam play at the moment is we kind of take it in turns. So Adam will bring a game one week and I'll bring a game another week. And for instance, like I haven't been to the Worcester group in ages, but I would probably do like a few weeks of playing games. If I know that person's bringing in that game every week and is definitely want to play it, then every few weeks I'll go, right, we'll play your big, massive miniatures game.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
It's just like with most things in life, you've got to give a bit. You have a bit of give and take.
Yeah,
exactly.
At the same time, if someone's going to throw the toys out the pram and bugger off home because they don't want to play your game, well, I don't care.
Yeah. No, exactly. Bugger off home, throw your toys out the pram, take your ball and go home. We don't care.
That's unfortunate for you, my friend.
I mean, the one thing we did actually last night and Tuesday, our friend Derek, who's playing an old D&D game anyway. I've been participating in our sort of, I say regular as we can make it, Charterstone game. So Dan has brought in Charterstone. There's 6 of us, so we can obviously only play it with the regular 6 of us when we turn up. And if there's one person missing, obviously we can't play because we don't substitute. So on those occasions, obviously, then there's discussion with the group, blah blah blah. So I've kept bringing in Hannibal and Hamilcar on the off chance that somebody doesn't turn up, because I promised Derek that we'd play, because it's only a 2-player game. And so last night I brought it along just in case, and I had a feeling we wouldn't be playing Charterstone, so we weren't. At which point it's like, well, I've promised Derek, we'd be playing as the 2-player game, and we often went on our merry way. But that was it. That wasn't us being dicks. That was just something that we both agreed. Let's just do it and we'll carry on. The rest of the group kind of sorted themselves out and away they went. And that was it. There was no, well, we're not
animosity.
playing with you. No, absolutely not. No, it's always a sensible. Well, these are the games that are on offer. This is what's available. What does everyone want to do? And it takes us about 15 minutes to make a decision because we're all far too polite.
Well, no, you should play your game. No, we should play your game. After you.
Okay, we're playing this one.
Quiet down, Andy.
So, Sven's second question of many is gaming expense. We all know how expensive the hobby can be. Apart from secondhand and eBay, what are your thriftiest ways to not go completely broke? And he's put a caveat on this and said Andy is not allowed to answer due to his well-known case of having more money than sense when purchasing.
Right, I have got the best surefire way to avoid having to spend lots of money on games, right? You guys are going to like this. All you need to do is get on a podcast with 2 people who buy an unbelievable amount of games. Never have to buy a game again. And as soon as I find those people, I will let you know. But that is a serious suggestion, though, is as a group, if you've got friends that you play board games with regularly, don't buy the same games.
That's an important one, and that's, I think, a mistake a lot of people make when they get into the hobby is they see a game they like and think, I've got to own this game. And then you realise you own a game and you don't play your own copy because everyone else you know has got a copy and brings their copy along. It'd be like something like Descent.
Yeah.
You've bought Descent and everyone else has got Descent and all the expansions. So what are you going to do? You're going to play the version with all the expansions.
Yes, exactly.
Rather than the basic version.
I think we're quite good at coordinating between us, though, aren't we? Generally speaking. We never used to be, but I've got to the point now, it's like, well, Steve's got this. Do I really need it? It's why I've not brought Gloomhaven, because I know you've got it.
There's absolutely no need for you to buy that, because you know I've got it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's sensible. So this is the thriftiest way not to go completely broke. Although, given that I'm probably moving house in the next 6 months, that requirement may wander. Depending on how often we all meet up.
Board games are the expensive part, and miniatures games are really expensive. Mm-hmm. But we've been playing. We said we ain't going to go down the rabbit hole. We've been playing a lot of D&D at the moment. And although we've bought a lot of the books for them, Andy's bought all of them.
And has 2 more on pre-order.
Oh, Jesus
grief!
You don't need much outlay to have hours and hours of gaming out of that.
Yeah,
it's true. You need the player's handbook and someone stupid enough, dedicated enough, to act as the DM.
Yeah. Other than that, I don't really know, because I've looked at... The other thing is just look at your bank account and go, bloody hell, I need to stop.
You see, there's a way around that, Steve. Don't look at your bank account.
There's a Kickstarter I was looking at today, which I've backed several times and has failed, and it was at the last 48 hours, and I wasn't sure whether to back it this month because I looked at my money.
Oh, yes, I saw that. Kickstarter grassed you up to me.
Yeah, and I'm still not sure whether to actually remove that backing tomorrow.
Keep it.
Because I don't think I need that game at the moment. I'd like it.
Not a question of need.
Well,
this is an addiction. Feed it.
Well, the thing is, actually, I haven't bought many games this year. I've been looking at what I've bought, and it's next to nothing.
Mm-hmm. There you go, because I've bought them all.
I've not bought a lot, but I might have accidentally backed Wreck and Ruin the other day.
Ooh, there we go.
Well, there we go then.
I never played it, but I've heard your ringing endorsements, and I got a reminder saying you've got 48 hours left to back it. I was like, if I don't do it now, I'm going to forget. Click, 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 done.
That is the game I was actually talking about.
Aha!
I was on the fence as to whether to because I backed the first 2 Kickstarters, but now financially I'm in a different situation. So I was like, do I back this or not? Especially when I know the Eclipse Kickstarter's around the corner.
You're not going to, you filthy Judas.
Well, you own a copy of the game. That's a difficult decision. The Eclipse Kickstarter is a difficult one because you own a full copy of the original with all the bling, and it's exactly what we're talking about. This will be a beautiful version. It's a game I play a lot on the iPad, but am I going to play Eclipse without you?
Exactly. I don't think you will.
And see, Wreck and Ruin, I can see me playing without John because I can see me taking that down to the Wednesday night in Evesham.
Yeah, true.
But Eclipse, I'm not sure about.
There you go, you see.
That new version of Eclipse is looking very, very pretty. They've been showing off the inserts this week. The inserts.
Well. Is this going to be... am I going to have to look at it just to make another contender for Andy's Insert of Choice Award?
I think that's going to be your 2019 hot contender.
Oh, yeah, but I'm not going to back it, so it's fine.
So, now I'm going to have to back it. Oh, damn it.
You don't have to back it.
And this is exactly what I'm talking about. Just coordinate with your friends. Jobs are good.
See, John's sensible. He just takes a step back, lights the blue touch paper, and retires.
Yep. All part of my cunning master plan.
Indeed, as he rubs his fingers with the light.
Excellent.
Mark Campbell Helm asks, what's one game currently live on Kickstarter you're each most excited about? And also, what upcoming one is looking interesting, which I think we've kind of half answered in a way. So I'm excited about the Eclipse Kickstarter.
Yes.
We're all kind of interested in the Simon Cthulhu Never Dies, or whatever it was called. We've already forgotten what it's called. Cthulhu Death May Die.
One more on that last list. I'd have to say Deception when it eventually comes to it.
Deception, yes.
I'm quite excited. Yeah, really excited about that game.
The elite type game, the space faring game. We played it.
You mean Defection?
Defection? Deception? I always get those two mixed up.
Deception is another game entirely.
And I never know whether I've got it right.
Yes, you mean James's game? Yes, definitely. Defection's not on there yet, but yes. Stuff on Kickstarter at the moment. I am currently backing, because I'm interested in it, Netatanka, a worker placement game, which sounds quite impressive. Tricarian's reprint stroke expansion, which I think actually ends tomorrow night, so Thursday night. I think it's on like day 12 or 13.
We might as well cut that bit then, because that'll be finished by the time I edit it.
Yeah, well, unlucky people. What else is currently on? Oh yeah, there's something else I'm quite vaguely interested in, is Tang Garden. I don't know if anyone's seen that.
I saw the pictures of it, but I couldn't work out what the game was.
Yeah, I got to that point. I thought, that's quite pretty, but I kind of looked at it and went, yeah. So yeah, Netatanka to me sounds pretty damn cool, so I'm going to go with that one.
Okay.
It's worker placement, of course I'm going to like it.
Obs.
Michael Kent asks, and with the RPG hobby, there is a lot of homebrew-oriented content, especially when compared to board games. Can you see homebrew content expanding into board games?
With 3D printers?
3D printers can help make either additional...
No, I mean, I think he's talking about actual home... So if you... Right, let's take Dungeons & Dragons. We said we're going to wait and talk about it, but let's talk about it. The campaign we're running... The campaign we are running published books only. So we've said content from Player's Handbook, Volo's Guide to Monsters, Xanathar's Guide to Everything, all that kind of stuff, yeah? Mm-hmm. So we're running on everything that Wizards of the Coast have made. However, if you go online, you will find a whole load of homemade stuff, homebrewed content. And effectively, there's two kinds of homebrew. There's the kind of stuff the DM makes himself rather than doing a published adventure, so playing it in your own world or playing your own adventures. I don't class that as homebrew. Then the other side is like rules online, where you found rules for vampire player characters or anti-paladin classes or magic items or special feats or something. And personally, I stay away from these with a 10-foot pole because they're usually hideous, out of balance for the rest of the game.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that will be the exact same problem with the board game variety, whereas people can go, well, that clearly sounds either interesting or it didn't work for us because, all of us in our group play a certain way. So let's I mean, a house rule is kind of a homebrew, but that's about as far as it gets because you've identified an issue.
Yeah.
Like, for example, with the Fallout board game, we've all, I think pretty much everybody in the gaming community has come to the conclusion that the end conditions are bollocks and there are unofficial ending conditions for it. But I think, I don't really see how you could homebrew part or all of a board game.
Well, take Fallout as a perfect example, actually. Fallout's a good one because you could homebrew a new different type of character.
You could.
So you can make a new character for it with new stats, you could put new cards in, you could put new quests in, you could put new items, you could put new monsters in. So you could homebrew all that kind of stuff.
True.
And if you look around on Board Game Geek, you will find people who've done this.
But is it balanced? There's the question.
Well, that's the question. That's going to be the question.
To be fair, when you start adding enough expansions into some games, you can end up pretty unbalanced if you're playing with like the original characters and the new ones. So you just need to balance it all. That's the real difficult thing to do.
Two closely related questions.
Yep.
Peter Shank Olsen asks, are we going to Essen this year? And Paul Grogan asks, why are you not going to Manacon?
Yeah, same answer, really. Cash and time.
Time.
Mostly time. Mostly time.
I'm not ruling out Essen, but at the moment I have made zero plans to go to Essen.
And at which point I think you're too late to book a hotel.
Yeah, well, which comes back to cash. I've got zero cash to buy a sensibly priced hotel for Essen and a sensibly priced hotel. But this happens every year with Essen. I kind of forget about it and then suddenly go, yeah.
Oh, too late again.
Like,
Where's Manacon? I've not heard of that one.
Well, that answers Paul's question. Why are we not going to Manacon? Because
We
we've
ain't
not
heard of it. Yeah, there you go.
And I decided to go have this look this up on the internet when Paul asked this question. And I went to Manacon's website, and I must admit, Manacon's website looked like it was written in 1992.
Was it a BBS? Did you have to use a dial-up modem to get to it?
There are lots of animated GIFs, the standard ones.
Did it look like a really badly made MySpace page?
GeoCities.
Yes.
Lots of pink and cyan.
With massive flashing fonts.
Yep.
Not far off.
And definitely
actually.
some marquee effects if you're feeling really swish.
Yeah, and the hamster dance going on in the background.
Oh, dear. Oh my god. No! It's in
You're
there!
welcome, audience. Yes, and it's not getting out. You're welcome.
Look it up if you've not seen
There
it
you
before.
go. Dee-da-dee-dee-do.
Oh dear god.
Do you know
I
that
hate
was
you both.
actually originally in Robin Hood from Disney?
It was.
Is that the slowed down version?
The original version, yes.
The acoustic version.
Unplugged.
Hamster
Yes.
dance.
Hamster
Unplugged.
dance unplugged.
Oh, here's a question for you though, Paul. Where do you find out about all these conventions? What have we missed? Is there a central repository?
He's part of the inner circle, man. He's got like the secret handshake and everything. And every Thursday night they have to
Follow-up question. What's the secret handshake? You have to ask the question.
Manacon is the 20th and 23rd of July, and it's in the University of Leicester.
That's only up the road, and that's near my birthday. Done.
This has come up recently regarding something else. What tends to happen is if there's a gaming convention on, then my mother-in-law will organise a family gathering for that weekend.
Son of a...
It's like she knows.
It's like she knows, yes, and she will do it exactly at just the point where I'm about to book a hotel or book a ticket, and then she'll go, "Oh, by the way, the whole family's coming around for Sunday lunch this weekend."
You should just click the book button and then say, "Oh, I'm really sorry, but..."
Oops. If you'd have got in touch 4 seconds ago.
Yes.
Hang on, just 1 second. Click.
It's almost like Amanda's grassed you up.
Yeah.
She knows what you're doing, and then she just gets on the hotline to Mother and goes, "Mum, stop him."
Well, it's like we met up with the guys from Tabletop Scotland in
I can't go.
UK Games Expo. Well, I don't know if I can go because it's the last weekend of the summer holidays. So Amanda, being a teacher, will probably want to spend that weekend relaxing and probably won't want to drive up to Scotland. And I've just found out it's our friend's kids' first birthday party they're arranging, and it's multiple sets of our friends are holding a big party on the same day. So it's like, what do I do here then?
See, I could go because I've got the time and screw the kid's birthday, but it's financially ruinous to do so.
You've got a child.
No.
You heard it here first.
Well,
folks.
not my own anyway.
That's asks more questions than it answers.
Lewis Shaw asks, what is the excuse you give when someone asks if you want to play Dixit? And the answer
We
is...
don't give an excuse, we say yes.
Exactly.
It's a great game. Lewis, you an idiot.
And for that reason, we're not going to answer any of your questions.
A better question is, what excuse would you give when someone asks you if you want to play Talisman?
And again, you would say...
Betrayal at House on the Hill, because that is awful. I bet you like the trail, don't you, Lewis? I bet you do. Ugh.
You talking to yourself again, Andy?
Well, kind of.
No, I agree with him. I'm nodding in sage agreement here.
He is, because Betrayal at House on the Hill is
That's
categorically the worst game ever made. It's worse than Talisman. That's how bad it is.
That's going on a list. Games Andy agrees is actually worse than Talisman. Yeah. That's the first one on the list, to be fair.
Betrayal at House on the Hill is like deep fried shit on a crusty roll. That's how bad it is.
Why on a crusty roll?
Why not? It's for comic effect. Emphasis, dear boy. Emphasis. Do you have no literary soul in your...
Any what, sorry? Lewis Shaw asks, what's the plural of meeple?
People.
One meeple,
People?
many meeples.
People.
Why would it be people?
Why not?
Okay.
Moving swiftly on again.
The Giant Brain asks, what do you think of the recent announcement from Monolith regarding their future Kickstarter plans? Do either of you two know what the recent announcement from Monolith is?
Of course
I have
we
a feeling
do.
You're about to tell us.
But for
Because John and I have been busy at work and haven't had time to look this shit up.
Of course we know what it is, and Steve. But for the pleasure of our listeners, why don't you describe it to them?
Before you say, can I take a guess?
Go on.
They're only going to go Kickstarter exclusive from now on.
It's actually different than that. So they've already said that. They said that a couple of years ago. So Batman was Kickstarter exclusive. They said that when they made Conan, that the cost of making the Conan board game was such that by the time the distributors had taken their money, Asmodee had taken their money, the brick and mortar game shops had taken their money, the price they could sell Conan for was too low. So the money they made off Conan was too low, and they said it wasn't worth even attempting to stay in business with that model. So they said they're going to only go on the Kickstarter. So that's what's going to happen with Batman. The next game, which is a remake of Claustrophobia, is they have already got the game in production.
What?
And they're going to go to Kickstarter with a limited number, so it'll be like 5,000 copies, and you will receive your copy within 4 to 6 weeks of the Kickstarter ending.
Ooh, that's
Okay.
sexy.
So rather than using the Kickstarter to get money up front, and then you invest that money into tooling and production and development and all that,
They're using it to recoup capital investment. Okay.
yeah, they're basically saying they've already got the money to do the tooling and the redesign.
Because they've just
and
got a
development.
shitload of money from the Batman.
Yeah, basically. So
That's a bit dodgy financially, because essentially what they've done is spent the Batman money on making a new game, and they're going to spend the money they get from the recoup from the new game, spend it on Batman to produce that.
Or to look
Why
at
is
it
that?
another way, they're confident enough that the new game's going to be good, and therefore all they need to do is, all they need to know is how many copies to make.
Indeed,
well,
yes.
that's it. They already know how many copies they're going to make of this. This is what's even weirder, because everyone's always said... Because
Limited copy, yeah.
yeah, for this system to work, this must already be in production before the Kickstarter starts.
We have made 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 copies of X game, and we want to sell it at £100 each. Ergo, we know the income from that, which means they have spent whatever the hell cost that is, because each copy will cost a certain amount of money. They've used that certain amount of money from their capital investment. However, they may have acquired said financial capital, and they're just going to recoup that. So it's a very rigid, but very known and risk-free, relatively, business model. So it does have some serious merit as a business model, because there's a lot of knowns there.
Now, of course, the board game community is up in arms because they're doing this via Kickstarter.
Of course, they're up in arms because most of the board game community seems to have absolutely zero commercial awareness.
Which I think sums up my view of it as well. If Monolith want to do this, and people will... Well, if Kickstarter don't stop them, which Kickstarter ain't going to stop them because I think they take 10%, is it?
Of course, yes. Everyone's making
it's
money.
Monolith, so it's probably going to sell out.
They make good games, high quality, for a sensible price, and people are going to pay money for it. Where's the problem? They're a business, they're not a goddamn charity.
At the end of the day, if you don't like it, don't back it.
Exactly, Mr.
Exactly.
Cage. Vote with your feet and all that.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Harker asks, what game,
Again?
or at least style, increases your attractiveness to one's preferred horizontal mambo partner?
Drinking heavily.
No, that's the other way round. They become more attractive to you, Andy.
Oh. We'll get them
I've
drunk
seen
then.
you 3 sheets to the wind. You're not as attractive as you think you are at that point.
But Steve, you look an amazing, attractive man to me.
I do like the way...
Our beard looks like something I can hang on to.
Oh. I do like the way Andy's managed to put his camera in slightly soft focus, though.
Well, that's just the Vaseline I've smeared all over the lens.
Let's not ask. Carry on.
Or I've not focused it properly.
What
Is
game?
that better?
Better's a subjective term. It's less blurry now.
Less awful.
More blurry again. Anyway.
Okay, hang on. Better?
Stop smearing more stuff on it. I'm not sure there is one.
No, I mean, I wouldn't... It's the sort of thing that board games and rumpy pumpy are not exactly two things that go hand in hand. You know, dancing the salsa, proper Spanish style, that might work. You know, a man can shake his hips like Ricky Martin. Apparently, he's an attractive man. That'd work. But, you know, telling a lady the size of your meeple, probably not going to get her between the sheets.
Right, that's enough about that.
As Johnston asks, what IP or game that isn't out there would you each want to design or play?
I'm designing it. At the moment. I'm currently designing it.
Go
So
on, you
I
might as well
can't tell
us.
you. It's super secret.
You can tell us because no one's going to steal your idea.
Or they might. You never know.
Steve promises to cut
I
it.
know how IP works. No. I'm not going to say a damn thing.
Well, I can tell you now, it's been proven time and time again that IP doesn't really work in board games.
Well,
So, several board games on the same theme come out at the same time all the time. So, I'm going to say mine anyway. I would like to see, and I've got some ideas in my head on how to do it, I would like to see a game which mimics XCOM come out.
mimics XCOM.
Yeah, because I don't think although I like the XCOM game for what it is, I don't think it's XCOM.
I agree. You mean Eric Lang's dog shit?
It's not dog shit, it's a good game. Do you not like it?
I probably need to play it with other people. Well,
Have you played it with 4 players yet?
No, I only played with 2.
Well, and shut up then, Mr. Lewis.
No.
You don't like it.
Seriously, you can't say you like that. Don't like that game if you've not played it with 4 players because it is a 4-player game.
That's fine, but it isn't XCOM. It's base management.
Yeah, but I think base management. Is part of XCOM, but this game is based on XCOM, but is not an XCOM game.
Agreed. It's part of the XCOM game, but the fun bit of the XCOM game is going out and blasting the crap out of the alien menace.
But I don't think you can do that in a board game and do the 2 parts of XCOM in a board game.
Why not?
Because if you just wanted to blast him, just go play Infinity.
Yeah. Okay.
What I think is, I think you could do a base management game that has not the tactical element, but something that has an element of like defeating aliens that will work from a kind of a Think of it like an Eldritch Horror kind of board where you move around. And I'm thinking more like XCOM 2 than XCOM, because XCOM 2's got the movable base.
I've not played XCOM 2.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah, no, I heard it was shit, so I didn't bother.
It's not. It's amazing. So bother.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
So almost something more like, I can't remember which game it was now, but one you were talking about recently where you had a ship and you got to manage your ship in terms of resources, but you also, there's like a wider thing going on at the same time.
U-boot.
No, it wasn't that
No,
one.
I think you were thinking of the Everrain.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah.
So something, a mechanic along those lines.
Yeah.
Great answer to this. You've given me a fantastic idea. Syndicate. Remember Syndicate from the 90s? How good would that be?
Exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking as well.
Yes. There you go. That would be cool. 4 rogue androids running around blowing the crap. Persuading the local populace and upgrading themselves to become an absolute mega corporation. Yes. Someone
Would
needs
you
to
do that game as the kind of miniatures tactical game?
Yes.
Or would you do it as a worldwide base management game where you're playing against other syndicates?
I still think you can do both.
See, the problem with that is you kind of have to put one board to one side and then bring another board out with loads of stuff on.
That's fair. It probably would take up a lot of space. But what you'd probably do is a modular board for the encounter. And it would be app-driven.
You could have it so that your individual character boards are like corners. And then the encounter board, the bits that you switch out, is just a square that you plonk in the middle.
You could, but you'd have to make sure that whatever happens between those two is either a smooth transition or the tactical side of it is really straightforward, that you can do multiple firefights in a single game. And that's why I don't think that concept will work. Because any kind of tactical thing like that is going to be, you think like a game of Infinity, which is almost exactly the same as a slug out in XCOM. Infinity's like an hour long. To play a decent version of XCOM, you'd have to do, or Syndicate, you'd have to do that several times in a single game. So I think you'd have to pare it right down.
Yeah, probably.
In a campaign, yeah. What you could do, what I think would work quite well, is something like, if you got something like Doom or Imperial Assault, which is basically the same game, and then tacked on the kind of management side of things.
I've just had a brilliant idea. Syndicate or XCOM, but it's like Gloomhaven.
Syndicaven.
Syndicaven. So you have the tactical miniatures game, and that's the main part of the game, and then you have a board like you do in Gloomhaven, which is your campaign, and it's the.
Didn't I just say it would work perfectly well? In fact, rewind and replay exactly what I just said. No, Andy, that would be a stupid idea.
No, because I've just realised how you do it. You make the board management of it really. I kept thinking what you need to do is.
Exactly, you make it modular. You have little wee pieces you put together.
What I mean is you make the kind of global aspect, the base management aspect of it,
Well,
really
course.
simple.
Of course.
Yeah, here's me thinking you want to make like a Euro game out of it.
Oh, good lord, no. No. It needs to be quite light. You've got a budget. You've got, 5 things you can invest in. Where do you want your money to go?
We really need to stop discussing incredible board game ideas online, sharing them with our
this is why I
listeners.
didn't want to do it.
Without describing
No,
it.
we keep discussing it, and then someone else can make this board game for us.
Ooh, good idea.
But we want to make the millions of dollars that comes with making a butt weight.
Hang on.
With all of the time we have to wait.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's
okay, carry on.
Have you got any IPs or anything like that you'd like to see a board game made of?
I mean, Syndicate sounds pretty good to me.
See, I'm the ideas guy. I'm not the how guy. I'm the ideas guy.
Indeed.
And I think on that bombshell, it's time to end the show.
Thank you very much for listening. If you've enjoyed the show, please give us a review on iTunes and share us with your friends. I believe that Google are making an official podcast app.
Really?
And so all the cool kids are getting onto the official Google podcast soon.
In which case, we will no doubt be there.
We'll know what we're there, and if you can leave us a review, if it's reviewable, please do so. Chat to us on Twitter. We are at PolyhedronC, and I am at Wahovel Madenga.
Of course you are. I am at Sonic H with a 0.
And I'm at John_Cage.
We're also on Facebook at Polyhedron Collider and the Board Game Geek Guild 2726. But for now, tatty bye.
Arrivederci.
Catch you later.